Okay, beautiful. Hello, good morning from California. Good afternoon if you're in the UK, and good evening if you're in Nepal. I was actually doing a live yesterday with a friend of mine in Nepal, so making sure we're hitting all the time zones. I'm here today with Kirsty. She is lovely. I was actually on her podcast a few years, was it this year or like last year? Either way, I was on her podcast a while back, and she is amazing. She's a seven-figure entrepreneur, and I'm going to let her introduce herself first.
Oh, thank you so much, Radiance. It's lovely to be here. Hello, everybody, wherever in the world you are. I'm in the UK at the moment. So my name's Kirsty Kamarauskas. I am a mindset and empowerment coach for female entrepreneurs, and I basically help them remove their biggest success blocks and help them move into more abundance, success, and create a life that they absolutely love. So I have done a lot of personal development work. I've had lots of different businesses, and yeah, I'm just excited to have this conversation with Radiance now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Kirsty, for being here. And I'm Radiant. I am a healer extraordinaire. Well, actually, what I do is I help leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals heal self-sabotaging patterns so they can create a life that feels amazing for them to live, own their potential, own their gifts, and release patterns of self-sacrifice. So today we're talking about why energy is so important for you in 2024, especially if you're following a business strategy right now to build momentum going into 24, how you're going to make sure that your energy is in alignment with your desires. So I'm going to let Kirsty start off first with what she believes has gotten her to her seven-figure year using personal development and energetics.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a little while ago, our business was struggling. We were having a really, really hard time, and it looked like we were about to lose it, basically. And I just started getting into personal development and learning about mindset and manifestation and spiritual techniques. And so my whole world had opened up, but yet my business had sort of started failing, started struggling, and we literally were about to lose it. It was going downhill rapidly. And I decided to apply what I was learning to the business in terms of my personal development and my growth, and looking at my subconscious beliefs and what was in me that could have possibly been creating this outside of me. Right. And when I did all of this and went inside to do the inner work, I was able to radically change the results that I was getting outside of me. Our sales suddenly started doubling, then tripling, and then we hit this breakthrough year that we'd never been able to hit that high before. And it was against all odds. We were having things thrown at us left, right, and center that was basically would make anyone say, this is not going to work. Like, as soon as the sales started coming in, we then couldn't get stock, and there was a global shortage, and there was no way, it was going to be 9 months before we could get what we needed for our product. Yeah. Which would have put us under, like, immediately within just a couple of months. But so our energy, our belief in ourselves, the energy that we were putting out into the universe had to be, like you said, congruent with the goals that we had. And our goal was £1 million year. So we really had to tap into that energy of belief, certainty, faith. We had to see ourselves as that version that already had it, could do it, that was completely capable. And we had to put a lot of faith in the universe creating conditions and synchronicities and things that would actually help us get out of the stock issues and things that we were going through. So at first it's that we couldn't sell anything. And then it was that we were selling so much, we then couldn't get the stock. So wow. I guess from all of that, it was a really deep lesson in how your mind, your energy, and your emotions really, really play out into your reality and the results that you get. And you really can influence the energy around you so that your conditions and circumstances do actually change, because it's exactly what happened for us. We were visualizing, we were having celebration parties, visualizing all the stock coming, and lorries pulling up and all these products coming out, or falling all over us. I mean, we were making it playful, we were making it fun, but we were putting that really intense energy out, like, this is what's happening, it's fine, this is what's happening. And sure enough, out of nowhere, we'd have our supplier reach out going, like, I don't know where this has come from, but we've suddenly got all of this. And then we had so much. So it was just, it's everything. Energy is everything.
Yes, yes. You know what, when you were talking, it sounded a lot of what Neville Goddard says about creating that vision and living
Yeah,
that vision as if
yeah,
it's already in your reality. And you know, a lot of you know, religious texts say the same thing, like create the vision already, speak it into existence. And if you're not, you know, into religion, you know, spiritual texts say it as well. So it's basically you finding a way to create that vision, create that life in reality already without needing tangible evidence for it to have already occurred.
absolutely. Yeah, he talks about living from the end, doesn't he? Living from the
Yeah,
end result. And
yeah,
this is where most people struggle, and I did for the longest time, and still can trip myself up,
mm,
is living from that place despite the evidence showing you something else, right? So you've got
right.
to really step into that. It's done. It
Yeah,
exists as a probability already. So I have to have that faith that whatever I do is going to be enough, and that I will be led and guided to the right things at the right time. And it's okay to make mistakes, because that's
yeah,
the other thing. We try so hard to avoid mistakes, to avoid failures, but they're part of our development. And oftentimes they're part of us making that journey towards what we want anyway. So
mhm,
without those lessons, we wouldn't have grown and learned. So
right.
yeah, it can be difficult to ignore what reality is telling you right now, but unless we do, we're just regurgitating it and creating more of the same, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And what you're talking about from a scientific standpoint, that's your brain's confirmation bias, where your brain is taking in evidence from its environment and it's recreating that same reality over and over again with your actions and with how your energy is now attracting more of the same.
Absolutely.
So what we can do, you know, from even a scientific and spiritual standpoint, is say, okay, how can I create a vision of what I want to create, of the life I want to create, of the feelings I want to feel in those experiences, of the thoughts I want to have in those experiences, and see how I can live in that moment right now without it having to actually occur. And then when we create that vibration, we create that frequency, now we're saying, okay, I'm become magnetic to those experiences. I'm becoming magnetic to those things happening in my life. And I feel like I'm channeling Joe Dispenza right now because I love his work, but that's
Mm.
basically what it is. So it sounds like you were able to truly tap in. And I love that story of how you were able to just visualize things coming off the shelves and things just flying off and, you know, just making that a reality. That is so powerful, especially for people right now that are going through things. You know,
Yeah.
we're seeing the economy in countries around the world having moments of in so many words, despair. You know, this seems
Yeah.
like there's a slowdown of growth. And if we can also tap into the frequency of many millionaires being made in the depression era, you
Absolutely.
know, if we can tap into that magic as well, saying what problem can I truly tap into that I solve and I can do with passion and have my energy behind it, we can see some really amazing stories come out on the other end in the next 5 years.
Completely. And what I absolutely love everything that you said all the way through. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And I think one thing that just keeps coming up for me over and over again is perspective. So you've
Mm,
talked a lot, about, especially in things like recessions, billionaires and millionaires are made because they are choosing to look at it differently. They are
yes,
choosing to look for opportunity. They're conditioning their mind to an abundance mindset where they're saying there's still millions of people here that need help with something.
right.
So rather than allowing the fear to take over, because the thing is, when we're in that fear energy, our mind's
Mhm,
very closed. And you talked
mhm,
about brain bias earlier, and our reticular activating system is going to be focused on whatever we're focused
right.
on, and bringing more. That's all we're going to see. So we'll have all these opportunities, especially as business owners, out there
Mhm,
in front of us. We'll have so many options, so many ideas, so many solutions. But
mhm,
what are we tapped into receiving? Through
right.
our energy, through our thinking, through our focus. Because if we're tapped into the doom and gloom, if we're tapped into the struggle, how things aren't working, that is literally all we'll see. And then we're sending out that energy, like you said, and bringing that back again. So it really
Right.
is that switch of, there's the law of polarity, right? So there's always two ends. There's always a positive and a negative. There's light
Yes.
to dark. There's cold to warm. Like there is always an opposite. So if you find yourself locked into that negative end, know there's an opposite and just ask yourself, how can I gently tap into that side of the stick instead, as Abraham
Right.
Hicks would say, because then you can raise your vibration. And when you raise your vibration, you're raising your energy. And what you're doing is changing your perspective so that you're starting to view the world, the situation, and everything else differently so that you can attract those ideas. You can see the solutions, right?
Right, right, right. And I love how you talked about the reticular activating system. That is, that's your bread and butter when it comes to the law of attraction, when it comes to energetics, because we talk about that in spirituality, about making sure that you hold the vision for 17 seconds. Yeah. And I think also Esther Hicks, she talks about that 17-second rule, making sure that you hold that vision. But really, it's also scientific as well. When you hold a vision in your reticular activating system for 17 seconds, you're telling your brain that this memory, this thing has happened. And then your brain responds by creating that vision, by creating that reality. And it's something that you can even do in the start of your day. Maybe you have this big grand vision, but one of the things Mel Robbins says is you have to also manifest the small steps to getting there, the work to getting there. She had actually given an example of how some students had manifested wanting to get an A on the test. And then there was another group of students that manifested doing the work to get the A on the test. And more students that manifested doing the work to get to the A on the test got the A versus the people that just manifested getting the A. So it's not only important to manifest the vision, it's important to manifest the micro steps to get to that macro vision. So one of the things that I definitely want the audience to remember is that taking the steps, while they may not be the most fun all the time, they are necessary. Like those mistakes, those are necessary. Those bends in the road, those are necessary. Those are all points that will help you maintain the frequency, maintain the maturity to handle getting to that macro vision. Because one of the things that TD Jakes says as well is that what if you get a gift that you're not ready for? What if you get a vision that you're not ready for? It's almost going to be like if you were to give a 6-year-old that has not finished first or second grade yet a college diploma. They're not ready for that college diploma yet. They haven't taken the steps. So when you're manifesting, not allowing yourself to take the steps can be just as dangerous as getting the vision too fast. So give yourself the time, the grace to go through the steps. And I guarantee that can help you get to that vision even faster.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the other thing that Mel Robbins was saying about those steps is visualizing and seeing yourself going through the tough times.
Yes.
Because there's inevitably going to be tough times. So it's almost like you're saying with conditioning the brain, it's conditioning your brain to be ready to move through those challenges. Like someone I know, Conor McGregor, who's a famous boxer in the UK, right? He used to visualize. Tony Robbins helped him. Like he's visualizing he's training his brain as if it's already happened over and over and over again. And so it's these things that we need to do within ourselves. So if we can then train ourselves to believe already that we can overcome these challenges, that we, it's like going into a room networking. You have to go and network with some people and you're absolutely bricking it. Then you just visualize yourself. You see yourself in your mind's eye as that version of you that can go in and just chat freely. And then you go and do it, right? So you're almost mentally rehearsing all these things. So when you actually face them, you can actually find that you can do it and it comes more naturally and you're not frozen,
Yes. That's actually the creator of Mindvalley. His name is escaping me right now.
Vishen.
Yes. I think he's actually from around here. I think he was an engineer because I'm like 1 hour away from San Francisco. So one of the things that he was saying is that, he creates the energy of the day. He starts to see himself in certain situations or just creating the momentum or the energy that he would need in whatever situation that, would would occur throughout the day. And, I tried it a few times where I was like, okay, I'm going to have a good time. So, for example, I was going to Santa Cruz the other day with some coworkers, and, working with coworkers and actually having uh, like a bonding time with your coworkers, it's different. The energy is different. Most of the time, your relationship is based off of a more professional way, and we're going to see each other in a different light. So I was like, okay, I'm going to manifest us having a good time in the car, because I was the driver. So I was like, I'm going to manifest us having a good time in the car. I'm going to manifest us having good conversation. And we had good conversation. So even in those awkward moments, where you're like, I don't know how this is going to go, I don't know how the interaction or how the energy is going to be, you can create it ahead of time. You don't have to go in with your energy blinders on and just hope and pray that everything's going to work out well. You can actually create that energy beforehand.
I love that so much, because it comes back to you being presented with a choice. As soon as you get that awareness that it might be awkward, or it might be this, that, or the other, then notice that and think, right, okay, I've just thought that. So that means I have a choice. And now I can create something in advance, like you're talking about, or I can just bumble in and react. And this is what conscious creating and manifesting is all about. It's creating deliberately and intentionally, isn't it? So you can actually do that before events, through your energy, through your mindset. It's amazing. It's an amazing practice.
Yes, yes. And one last thing I want the audience to leave with as we wrap it up now. I know that there's a lot going on in the world, and there's a lot of unfortunate, painful experiences that people are going through. And it would be a disservice for us to not admit that there's times where we're wondering how life is going to be after all of this. We're wondering how life is going to be after everything that's happening in the Middle East, or everything that's happening in Europe right now, and you're wondering how life is going to be. And it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to have empathy. It's okay to have compassion for everything going on in the world. However, you don't have to guilt or shame yourself for wanting to achieve right now in this time of the world too. I've seen a lot of posts that are really embodying the energy of shaming people for still wanting to build their businesses, or for still wanting to live a good life. And just like you said earlier, Kirsty, there's a polarity. Just like there's unfortunate things happening in the world that we can have compassion for, that we can send money and assistance for, that we can send our energy and love for, we can still create a life that feels good for us to live, without guilt, without shame. And know that 2024 can be an amazing year in your business, and you can use whatever money that you acquire by helping more people to help people that are in unfortunate circumstances. So there's power in what you do right now in December. What I've noticed is that if I have an awesome December leading into the next year, it creates such a big, forward movement.
Momentum, yeah.
Yes, that you carry throughout the entire year. So yes, I know it's a time of slowing down. However, put in some plans and work, and I guarantee 2024 will be a change from what we've seen in the last couple of years for the people that are ready.
I love it. Yeah, it just comes back to that forward planning again, doesn't it? It's just setting that intention of how you want that year to be. And I think you just touched it. I think you touched it all with what you were saying. If there's any guilt or shame, there's no need for that. Everyone still needs what you provide. So the world still needs these things, and you can use what you earn and what you create to help others in a way that you want to do it. And you said the most important word, which was you can send your love as well. We can sit in that love vibration and really, really send that healing out around the world as well. So don't sort of undervalue the how strong that is, that feeling of love.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Yes. And thank you, Kirsty, for being here. Thank you all for listening. Much. I feel like this is a very powerful conversation. So please go ahead and go all the way back to the beginning if you're just joining us, and actually listen to the gems that were dropped throughout this conversation. And Kirsty, if there's people that want to work with you, how can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on Facebook and on Instagram, and I have a YouTube channel as well. It's Kirsty Kamarauskas, so you'll be able to find me that way. And of course, you can message me, drop me a DM on Instagram or Facebook anytime.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And if anybody wants to, if anyone that's a leader, professional, high achieving entrepreneur, and you know that there's a next level you want to achieve, yet you see yourself getting stuck in self-sabotaging patterns, perhaps you're overthinking what will you be able to achieve that next level. I'm here to help you make sure that you own your gifts and really access untapped potential so you can serve at your highest capacity without self-sacrificing patterns. So I'm going to drop my discovery call link and go ahead and click on that discovery call so we can set up a call to chat. And thank you again for listening to our chat, and we send you so much love.
Thank you.